Good morning. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning. Spring has arrived today. I think so. How's this light in here for you guys? Do you want me to turn that light off above you? Okay. Okay, so we're going to start. So we did 3 classes of standing poses, and my plan was to not park it, but to pepper the classes as we go for the last 4 weeks, because that's what we have, with a little bit of everything. But let's kind of do a complete switch around and do a class where we are quieter, softer, maybe a little bit more introspective. And this is how we're starting. I have suggested, if you have a bolster, to set a bolster up this way. I've got a block here, and I've got the bolster laying on top, and then a blanket. If you don't have a bolster, totally okay. You can get a couch cushion. It might be wide, but it still works really nicely. And if it's wide, and what I mean by couch cushion is the one you sit on, the bottom part of the couch, if you have that, because then it's going to be as firm as a bolster is, and then you can bring your arms to rest on the sides of them. So this is how we start. We will move this out of the way, and we'll probably use blocks and a strap, but we'll see, and a tennis ball, maybe. If you find when you lay down like this that your back doesn't feel great, feel free to bend your legs. If you feel like it's too much for your shoulders, for your arms to rest down like this, then maybe put something underneath your hands like this, supporting your hands. And then we breathe. If you're okay to close your eyes, feel free to close your eyes. And take a moment to arrive completely in the space that you're in. So your physical body got there, whatever it was you were doing. But sometimes your mind stays behind with whatever you were thinking of, or planning, or deciding, or worrying about. So bring it with you, and invite your mind to come rest in your body. Sometimes not an easy task. Sometimes it begins with an intention. I would like to be present. Notice your breath. If it's not a great thing to notice your breath, if it causes you some anxiety, then you don't have to. You can ignore what I'm saying and focus on something else. If your eyes are open, you can look at some place on the ceiling. If you don't have a couch cushion either, you can just lay over a blanket and have the same kind of length of the blanket, and then something to support the back of your head. It'll still give you that lift. The reason this is nice is it puts the spine more into a neutral alignment, where we have the support, because your pelvis is on the floor. We have the curve of the lumbar kind of resting on the end of the blanket, if it's a blanket, or the end of the bolster, if that's what you have. So if you're an introvert, you know that time alone, looking inward, is what recharges your batteries. Extroverts tend to recharge their batteries by being out, being seen, interacting. I'm going to say everybody needs some time to turn inward. So that's what we're going to do this morning. Take some time to become quiet. And quiet, I really am referencing what's happening in the mind and in the nervous system. Notice your breath. Notice any movement in your body, perhaps a rise and fall of your abdomen, or your chest. Maybe some awareness in your pelvic floor. maybe in your throat. Maybe you can feel the presence of your breath inside your nose. Notice anywhere in your body that you are holding tight. Because there's often tension where you don't even realize you have tension. So it could be in your hip joints, could be in your abdomen, your low back, your buttocks. I didn't say that, but sometimes we're squeezing and holding there and we don't realize it. Shoulders, chest, throat, jaw, mouth, eyes. And how about your forehead? Can you allow your forehead to be soft and smooth like a satin ribbon? As if any tension there just can melt away from the center down the sides of your temples and just move away. Oh, we got some birds singing. So now take your awareness and expand it again. Expand it out so everything in your field of awareness is yours to discover. So that includes sounds from far away. It includes thoughts. It includes smells, sensations in your body, and emotions. So open up your field of awareness and without really reaching with your ears, just listen for what's coming from far away. And gradually allow your ears to hear what is closer to you, what is within the room you're in. You don't have to let go of what you hear far away. Now you're including something closer. Feel the temperature of the air on any exposed skin you have, whether it's feet or arms or face. Notice any smells. Maybe take a deeper breath through your nose. What do you smell? Your eyes might be closed or they might be open, but if they're closed, what do you see behind your closed eyelids? What colors and shapes, images? If your eyes are open, what do you see around you? Feel free to move your eyes around and look. Even beneath your closed eyelids, you can move your eyes around and see what you see. There are colors and shapes there. Notice if you have any thoughts, observations, judgments. And the thoughts can lead to a shift in emotions. How would you describe your emotional state in this moment? Happy, sad, frustrated, excited, content. And then allow your field of awareness to stay expanded and take in all of those things. And whatever comes to you, comes to you. You're paying attention to what is coming, whether it's a sensation in your body, a feeling of some kind, an emotion, a thought, a smell, a sound. This is the beginning, this is the basis of meditation. Not pushing everything away and clearing your mind, but rather allowing everything to be in the space. We'll just take another minute here, and I'll be quiet while you observe whatever is in your field of awareness. Notice if your go-to when your body is quiet, your go-to in your mind is to think. A thought that pops into your head as part of the many things in your field of awareness is one thing, but to string a few thoughts together into thinking is something different. That sometimes, most often, will negate everything else in your field of awareness. One of the definitions I use for yoga is a process of becoming more aware. Notice it's not, my definition is not about flexibility or getting stronger. The poses we use are vehicles to assist us to become more aware. So now take some time to deepen and lengthen your breath a little bit longer inhales, a little bit longer exhales. Start to enliven your whole experience with some prana. And prana is life force energy that you bring in through the breath. Maybe even a sigh as you breathe out. So we bring in prana. We want the body to maintain, hold on to the prana. So most of it will stay when we exhale. A little bit will leave. But then we take another breath and bring it in again. It's different than oxygen. It's your life force energy according to yogic principles. And it is in every living thing. Prana exists in every living thing. Let's take 2 more like that. Maybe even extending your exhales just a little bit longer. Exhales connect to the parasympathetic side of the nervous system, or the calming side. And the inhales are more the energizing side of the nervous system. So we're trying to bring some balance to that. We're trying to stay calm, but still bring in life. And then slowly return to a natural breath, and one leg at a time, bend one leg if they're not bent already, and then the other. And take your time rolling over to whichever side serves you the best. And then from the side, come on up. We're going to move these props out of the way now. We'll probably finish the class with the bolster. But for now, come onto your hands and knees. I just want to go into some spinal waves. So set up your hands, and if you're not able to kneel on your knees, you can stand and bring your hands to the seat of a chair. So set up your hands nice and wide so that you have support as wide as your shoulders, maybe even wider. So more space is always going to give you room to move. And then start to move your spine. We have 6 directions we can move the spine in. Rounding it like a Halloween cat is called flexion. Going into like a back bend and arch and lengthening the front of the body and shortening the back like this is called extension or hyperextension if we're going beyond the center. We can do a lateral flexion, which is shortening one side of the body and lengthening the other, and then doing the opposite way. So that's 4 movements. We can go into some rotation by sliding one arm under, coming back, going the other way. So that's the a rotation of the torso like that. So feel free to kind of mix it up and go randomly, any of those movements, maybe even combine some of those movements together and see what it feels like. You're kind of just testing out how does your body feel today? Getting a sense of, what am I capable of? What do I have? What kind of energy do I have today? So resting like we did at the beginning, going through a meditation like that, it's a really great way to start any day. So from here, you may need your blocks. So look to see where you've got your blocks. If you don't have blocks, you're probably going to have to come up onto the seat of a chair. So from your hands and knees, you can use your blocks to lift you up and bring your left foot forward. So if you're not using blocks, you don't have them, this is where you're going to be. You're going to be like this with your hands up here. Yeah, so you can take this foot, lie it flat, you can tuck it under, whatever is going to work for you. Take a couple of breaths here and see, is it possible to start to come up a little bit higher? And then do you need to have the support on your leg? Can you take your arms up and lift up? So now we start to lengthen and open through this side of the body. And then come back down. We'll do that again. Lift back up. And then back down. And one more time. Let's try to find stability in order to lift up like that. You want to keep the breath flowing. Okay, so from here, You can stay here. I'm going to give you an option to stay here or to tuck your toes under and lift your back knee off the ground. Yeah. So in this position, stretch out through your back calf, pressing back through your back heel. And we can try the same thing. See what it feels like. If you need to stay here, you can stay here. You can see, does it work to transfer your weight here? And we're not going to take hands away. I just want you to open up through the front of the hip here. We'll hold this for a couple of breaths. And then we'll come back down. Come back down onto the blocks. Bring your knee back down. Walk your blocks a little bit closer to you and walk your front foot further ahead. So it moves towards straight. It does not have to straighten. I want you to start to feel something underneath the back of your leg. Are you feeling that? Little hamstrings? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so you can tip your foot up like this or bring it down. You can move back and forth between the two. Put your blocks wherever you feel that gives you enough support. Okay, one more, that's it. And then we'll hold. And it can be here. It can be here. It can be here. It can be way up high here. It can be here. Lots of different bodies in this group. So lots of variety, lots of modifications. Okay, bring your blocks back forward. Move them to the sides. Step back into your table pose. The same leg that came forward, reach it back. Tuck your toes under, press back through your heel. So we'll kind of do this, shift forward, move back, shift forward, and move back. Where are you feeling this? Shoulders, okay. Anyone feeling it in their calf? Calf stretch, okay. I'll take the calf stretch. And then hold back. Oh, sorry, come forward. Tighten up your left leg so that you can lift it into the air. So we're lifting from your buttocks. So you're engaging on your left buttocks and lifting your leg in the air. Then bend at your left knee. Imagine you could put the sole of your left foot on the ceiling, and I want you to lift your left foot up towards the ceiling, and then bring your knee down to the floor. Just going to do 3 of these. That's 1. That's 2. And then that's 3. And bring it down. Okay. Bring your blocks back in. Other foot. So it's your right, coming forward. We start, so blocks or chair, we start here, well supported. And you can stay here if you find that this works better. You don't have the stability today. Bring your hands to your thigh. What would it take? What kind of connection to your core do you need in order to take your arms away? So we lift up 1 time, come back down to the blocks or the chair, and 2. And if you need some other variation of this, go ahead, do what you need to do. I'm just making suggestions here. And then we'll stay here. Tuck your back toes under, press into the blocks of the chair and lift your back knee off the floor. Press back through your back heel. A lot of weight on your blocks. Is it possible to start to shift some of your weight backwards into your back foot so you're not as heavy on your blocks? What if you let your legs start to take over more than your arms? Just for argument's sake, is it possible? And then bring your back knee down. Walk your blocks back. walk your front foot forward. Doesn't have to be straight, but we're going to move back and forth. If you want to just keep it down, you can keep it down. If you want to just keep it up, you can keep it up. Notice the difference. When I'm lifting my front of my foot, I'm engaging through the front of my shin. When I'm pressing it down, I'm engaging through the back of the ankle. So front of the ankle, back of the ankle. Or you can just hold it in one position. And then we'll hold whichever position you want to hold in. Maybe your leg is bent, that's okay. Have I said that enough? It's a direction, not a destination, moving towards straight. Okay, and then let's come back to hands and knees. Now the same leg, the right leg goes back into the calf stretch. I'm going to push back. So if you're feeling it in your shoulders, walk your hands a little bit further ahead of your shoulders and see, and press into your fingerprints. So it's like you're moving them forward. Yeah. So then we can go back and forth again here. So I'm pressing back through my heel, and then I'm going to come forward a little bit. You know, I have to get some feet stuff in. It's my thing right now. I was watching a webinar from two women who are physios that focus on feet and core. It was amazing. I'll share that with you in a moment. Okay, so then come forward again and put your brain here, right in your right buttocks. Do a little squeeze there and lift your whole right leg up. So this movement is coming from your hip, not your foot. So you're not notice if you try to lift from your foot, what that feels like. You lift from your bum and keep your toes, if you can, turn down to the floor. And then we'll bend the right knee. Then push your foot up towards the ceiling, which is that extra little squeeze in your bum, and then down to the floor. Squeeze and down, and third time. And that's it. That's it for this whole series. Come down now. I'm gonna move that. Can you still see me around the chair, Rachel? Yeah. Come down onto your belly, since we're here anyway. And lay down on your hands like this, or with your fists. If you need something under the front of your hips, put something under the front of the hips for some softness. And we'll just take a moment to lie here on our abdomen and see what breathing is like here. You know, we are, if we typically move the body in breath at the front when we're sitting or standing or laying on our backs, then where does the breath go if it can't happen in the front of the body? I'm going to tell you, this is going to give your diaphragm a little bit of a resistance training, because it can't spread the ribs to the front and it can't move the move downwards too much in the body. So can they spread out to the sides? So we'll take a few deeper breaths here. I'm noticing that as I take a bit deeper breath, on an inhale, I feel a little bit of a lengthening sensation in my low back. I feel a widening through my rib cage at the back of the body. Yeah, it feels different than when I'm sitting or standing. It's more challenging. Okay, then turn your legs so that they're facing down. You know, if you can't have the tops of your feet on the floor, kind of go to the very tips of your toenails. So if you can put your feet flat, then do that. If not, like the tips of your toenails can be on the floor. Then press back like you're trying to drag your feet further and touch the wall behind you. So as the tips of the toenails are on the floor, just reach back. So you wake up your legs. Can you feel how it activates your legs? I feel like my quadriceps have engaged and I feel tone all the way up to my buttocks. Then from here, lift your head away from your hands, but keep your head in line with your spine. Keep your legs doing what they're doing. Then lift your elbows away from the floor. You know, this is my favorite one, the favorite progression. Notice what your abdomen is doing. We still want to breathe into the back of the body and keep the abdomen soft, sinking into the floor. So then if you can, legs still active, lift your hands up to your forehead. Notice if your abdomen pushed into the floor. We want to stay at the phase where your abdomen stays soft. Then lower everything back down to the floor. We'll do it again. Legs are active, reach them back. Lift your head up first, long neck. Lift your elbows second, keep breathing. Lift your hands up third. Abdomen is soft, and if it's not, keep your hands down or keep your elbows down. And then slowly lower everything. We'll do one more like that. Legs active is kind of key because that's the anchor. Head lifts, elbows lift, hands lift. And then slowly lower down. So you can repeat that, or you can lift everything all at once. So here we go. Legs are active. Head, hands, and elbows lift, and then lower. So we'll lift on an exhale. And lower on an inhale. Lift on an exhale. Lower on an inhale. And if you want to, keep your legs active like they are. Lift from your buttocks and lift both legs. Doesn't have to be a lot. Notice if you're trying to bend at your knees. Lift from your buttocks so we engage the gluteus muscles. We did a little warm-up preparation for that before. Doesn't have to be very high. Let's do two more. Yeah, back strengthening, the whole back line of the body, and then rest. If you are comfortable moving into a child's pose of any kind, you can. We are going to flip over onto our sides, so you can go there if you don't. So what you can do, child's pose is like this. Any variation, maybe your hips are in the air, or you can roll over on your back and draw your legs in towards you. Then you have some room all the way around your torso to breathe in a circumference. And then take some time, we'll come over onto our side body. So whichever side, I'm gonna go on my left side. And I'll suggest having some kind of a pillow. Because you're on your side, you might need a little bit higher support. You can use a block, but it's kind of hard. So I like to be here. So we're going to do clamshells, which we've done before. Clamshells and body rotations here, but they're with a difference. So I'm going to say, to do clamshells, I want to take my legs and bring them in line with my body. So if you start like this, as if you're standing, your whole body in one line, then you take your knees and bend them backwards. So what we want to do is turn off the hip flexors so they don't even get a chance to participate. Then you stack your feet stay together, and you lift the top knee up, which is a rotation in the hip joint. Now here's the rule, the big rule. You can't roll back to do this. So whatever your range of motion is without your pelvis moving is your range of motion. And if you're not sure if you're rolling back, here's a really great idea. Take your block, put it behind your pelvis, and don't move it. In fact, you can have it sort of a centimeter away. And if you touch the block, then you know you're moving your pelvis. So yeah, if you can keep both feet down and your body is in line. Now, Rachel, just bend your knees backwards, but don't bring your knees forward. See, what I'm not doing is having my knees here. I want my legs in line with my body and then knees bend backwards. It's like I'm kneeling. And then just your knee lifts apart. We want to focus on the gluteus muscles in that hip. Monday's class, we did a lot of this, and Christopher was there. I was definitely feeling it yesterday. Yeah, try to keep your feet together. Okay, last time, and we're going to hold it. And hold it. If you've got your block handy, you don't have to, you can either put your hand on your thigh. I like to put the block here and hold the block up with my leg. So you can peek and see if you want. I just kind of up the stakes a little bit. And notice if you're getting fatigued in the front of the hip or in the back of the hip. I want it to be the back of the hip, your buttocks. Yeah, you are? Yeah. Good, awesome. Keep breathing, please. So we can still be quiet in the nervous system. And then slowly bring your leg back down. Take the block off. And roll to the, oh no, we'll stay here. Stack your arms now like this. We'll keep the legs where they are and you stack your arms. Start to lift your right arm up, or if your right arm's the top arm, and allow your torso to move, but not your pelvis again. So we're going to start that way. Your pelvis doesn't roll back and then come back again. So this is a rotation. This is less about what your arm is doing and more about what your body is doing. So your arm doesn't have to stay straight. We want to get a feeling like if you're laying on your left shoulder, I'm rolling onto my left shoulder blade, and then my right shoulder blade is rolling towards the floor. I want to focus on that movement, not so much with my arm. If my arm's bothering me, how's your shoulder today, Tom? Okay. But is it better than last week? Yeah. So focusing on rotating where the body rotates. And then for the last few, let's add something. So when you come back down and your hands meet, slide your top hand away from, like, further out so that you move your right shoulder blade, if it's the top one, away from your spine. And then come back and open it up again and let your pelvis rotate this time. Let your right knee maybe lift up. So kind of moving the spiral through the whole body this time. We'll do 3 of those. So I'll have a modification for you on the other side for your shoulder. And then back we go. Once you finish the last one, roll right over onto your back. And there you are. We've got a bit of an elevated pillow. If you did, I do. So now I'm just going to stay here for a moment and lift up the back of my head, lengthen the back of my neck, skin, and let the ridge of my skull kind of rest on that edge of the blanket. And if you haven't folded it up higher, you can still do it. I just like the little bit of the lengthening that can happen here, just resting the edge of my skull on the edge of the blanket. So I've moved it a little bit away from me. My chin drops towards my chest a little bit, and then my shoulders are going to drop back towards the floor. I'm going to keep my legs bent and just take a few breaths here. And we can add, which is a bit of a massage for this area, the occipital ridge. Just start to roll your head a little bit from left to right. We've done this before on a block, and it's a lot less invasive when it's a blanket. Yeah, that's it. Awesome. Okay. Then make your way over to your other side. Set up for clamshells. So your body position, even though you're lying on the floor, you're basically like this. Your body is lying on the floor, whichever side you're on, and then your legs are bent backwards. So if you look down the line of your body, do you have your thighs in line with your body? And then, Rachel, you can bend your knees back and anchor your feet. Yeah. Then feet are together, top leg lifts up. If you need the reminder behind your pelvis, put the reminder of the block behind your pelvis so that your pelvis doesn't rock back. Take it slow and steady. We're still keeping the awareness on staying quiet in your nervous system, quiet in your brain. You know, even though you're moving through physical sensations, physical actions. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It doesn't have to be very high. I still want you to keep everything in your field of awareness in your field of awareness. The gluteus muscles that are going to literally carry you forward in life. We want them to be awakened. Okay, one more time. And then you can either take your hand and use your hand as a little bit of resistance, or put your block on your leg and hold it up there. The closer your block goes to your knee, the heavier it's going to feel, the more work it's going to be for your hip. So the idea is here, connect with your gluteus muscles, particularly your gluteus maximus. Yeah. And breathe, of course. That's always going to be an instruction. Then slowly lower the top leg down. Stack your arms. And then do your rolling. So I'm okay if you need to adjust where your legs are. If you need more support, they can come more forward. We were keeping them further back for the glute work, the clamshells, so that we didn't have the hip flexors interfering. So as you do this, I'm going to share one of the things that they talked about on the podcast. So everybody seems to be talking about core stability, and that core muscles are the pelvic floor, the corset-like muscles, the transversus abdominis, they're multifidus at the back, and the diaphragm at the top. So it's like a cylinder in the body that we want to strengthen. Core stability needs to happen before what they call it is distal mobility. So your feet. So if your feet and ankles are not, if your core is not strong, then your feet and ankles will try to do the work to stabilize you, which is fascinating. Because if the brain does not believe you're going to be strong or supported, it will start to tighten up areas of your ankle and feet. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so one more time, and then slide your hand forward, and let's let the whole body roll back. Now, leg can come up, whole rotation, spiral rotation. So that's why it is important to work through the core so that the brain doesn't say, because the brain will say, hey, the feet are in contact with the floor. I don't feel stable here. So I'm going to make something act like stabilizers. And then ankles get tight, feet get tight. And then we start to have problems up the chain. Instead of focusing on feet, I need to focus on core. Last one. Roll right onto your back. We'll do one more time, holding up, lifting your head up, letting the edge, the skull sit on the edge. And while we're doing that, I'd like you to lift up your right leg and rotate it out. Then bring it back and down. So it's a lift, a rotation, back and down. So notice the range of motion that you have, similar to what we were doing with clamshells. Yes? Can you feel that? It's the same action. One more on each side. Then come back, do another one on the right side and hold. Hold in this rotation and see if you can land your heel somewhere on your other leg. So we've lifted, we've rotated, nothing else has changed, pelvis stays the same. And then let your leg, your right ankle rest where it is. If you need to, you can slide your left leg out further. So keep your pelvis level here. This is moving towards the glutes here in terms of a sensation of stretch. Feel free to lift both legs up and bring them closer to you, and you can hold on behind your left leg. But if it really distorts your neck and spine, then I'd say keep it down here. You're still going to do some work here. If you had a tennis ball nearby, you could put it underneath your hip on the side that's lifted and do a little bit of rocking. If you don't have a tennis ball nearby, don't worry. I have really come to respect the value of the tennis ball or the tune-up ball. It's about waking areas of the body up so that every area can be in your field of awareness, increasing your awareness in general. So if you can increase it here on your mat while you have fewer distractions, can you do that in life? Can you move away from your patterns of existence, of responding or reacting to others? Okay, last time. And let's hold it. If you're rocking, you're holding it. If you're not, you're holding it steady. And then lift your foot off of your knee. You can let it slide down your shin. And then change sides. So lift up the left, externally rotate, and land your heel or your ankle somewhere on your other leg. So adjust where that happens to be so that your pelvis can stay level. So what I mean by that is to lift this leg up, your low back didn't get heavy on the floor. And if it did, walk your leg away, your right leg away, until you're at a place where that's not the case. So a couple of choices. You can bring your leg in and hold if it doesn't distort your neck and spine, or you can use your ball and put it underneath your left buttocks and just keep moving it around as you rock from side to side. Because there's other muscles in here too. The more superficial ones or the deeper ones, I guess, to the hip bone itself, the medius and minimus. There's other muscles in here, piriformis and other external rotator muscles. There's a lot in here. So you're going to affect all of them depending on how hard you lean on the tennis ball or tune-up ball. Yeah. If it feels good, it probably is good. Okay. Take your time coming out. Taking the leg off. If you want to gather up both legs and bring them in towards your body, you can. Hold on underneath your knees or above your shins. You can rock a little bit from side to side, or you can hold it very still. Then we'll go into Shavasana, and if you want to set up the same way we did at the beginning, you can. If you want to use your chair, put your legs up on your chair, you can. So you can go like this. You could have the bolster under your knees. That's another option if you have your bolster. Might be difficult for you, Janice, but you might still work. It might actually still work okay. Boy, this class went by fast. My hope is that you're going to feel energized when you're done, not like, oh, I'm gonna like you've had 2 cups of coffee or 3, but more that you feel you have this quiet, available resource for you for whatever you need to do today. And you have some longevity, some, what's the word I'm looking for? Not stamina. Just energy that's going to last you the day. Slow and steady wins the race. Maybe take a long, slow breath in and a long, slow exhale. Maybe a sigh. And once again, return to the place where you're paying attention to everything that is in your field of awareness, not just your thoughts. Soften anything that has tension still. Hear the sound of my voice. If you feel you want to stay where you are, then please do. If you're ready to allow your body to begin waking up, find out what it wants to do. Wiggle, stretch, yawn, breathe. And if you want to come sit, you can. If you don't have to. That's how easygoing this can be. And notice as you do start to come out of the practice, can you still keep the essence of the practice of being aware, expanding your field of awareness to know things that are going on around you, to be observant? Is it possible? Have me in your ear for the day. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace.